Good evening, race fans, and welcome to race number 10 of the Race1 SK Modified Series here with American Sim Racing Club. We are here tonight at Oxford Plains Raceway, a nearly perfect circle that we're going to be racing on here today, and a flat circle at that, as we've seen here in the little practice session that we've seen before we've gone live here. Drivers definitely having a good time here tonight, as it seems. So, my name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight, 1080p, 60 frames a second. Folks, I hope you all are ready for what's in store here tonight as we get ready for our Horsepower Happenings Pole Award to head underway here. Well, to find out who is going to take home our Pole Award here today, as, again, drivers make their way out onto track to begin their first qualifying laps here today. Some of the first drivers out here, well, actually a lot of drivers have already completed their times here, given that this track rather small. Seeing lap times of just over 14.5 seconds, so not a whole lot of time that will be spent in a lap here, but 150 laps in total will be seen for today's race. Right now, Brett Hahn, the number 71 machine, currently the driver to beat here today, and going to potentially bring home that pole award here today, the Horsepower Happenings Pole Award, brought to you by Zach Heiser and Rich France. You can find out more about Horsepower Happenings on the Spotify platform. Every Monday, they release a new podcast featuring and talking about different drivers and series throughout the Midwest, short track series alike. Great to have Zach Heiser, as well as Mark Welch, the sponsor for Race1, also racing in the series here with us. So just great to have a good variety of drivers out here, all competing with one another. And I gotta say, this whole season has been phenomenal for the modifieds and for these drivers here in general. I gotta say, it's been very good racing throughout the season, throughout all of through the fields that we've seen in every single race. Couple hiccups here and there, but that's racing for you. Sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad ones. Let's see how tonight is going to go, and I predict that tonight's going to be rather interesting, being that this is a very flat oval that we are racing on here today in a nearly perfect circle, like I alluded to at the beginning of the broadcast. So no real straightaways for drivers to take advantage of, not really any opportunity to get fully into the gas, into the throttle, and get a good speed run here. It's all going to come down to really just keeping your nose as tucked in far inside as you possibly can, and keeping that line as much as you possibly can without burning off your rubber underneath you. So currently the driver to beat with a 14.72 as his best time, Brett Hahn, here, as we see Tyler Jordan, the number 92 machine, get a little bit loose here, coming out of what would be turn number 1, I believe. This is going to be a real challenge of my ability of calling the turns here today, being that this is a circle and no real indicator as to where the turns actually are. So, going to be a great time, folks. I hope you all are excited and ready for the action here today, as qualifying has pretty much wrapped up here. Most of our actually, I take that back. All of our drivers have made a qualifying lap or two. Only one driver, it looks like, having made only one lap here. But that's all neither here nor there. Right now, it seems like Brett Hahn is going to be the driver coming home with that Horsepower Happenings Pole Award, so he's going to come home with a little bit of extra cash in his pocket after that excellent qualifying, and only beating out Andrew Payne by 1/100th of a second in that number 93 machine to get into that provisional pole there. So, with just a few seconds left here before the checkered flag is waved for our qualifying run, and we get ourselves ready to go through our starting grid for today's race and get ready for the action to unfold. And speaking of the starting grid, we have it here and available for us. Let me go ahead and remove that little the Horsepower Happenings Award image, so that way we can go through this here together. So, starting off in the front row, Brett Hahn, the number 71 machine, alongside with Andrew Payne, the number 93 machine. Both of these drivers competing head-to-head for the championship here with only 2 races left after tonight. Devin McDonald, David Lucci going to be in our second row. Tyler Jordan, David Payton in our third row. Nick Fleury, Riley Mauricio in our fourth row. Zach Kaiser, Ron Hart in our fifth row. Tim Rogers, Franklin Evans in our sixth row as we move ourselves down the grid here. Noah Boucher, John DeMeester in our seventh row. Charles Darling, Eric Hahn in our eighth row, and Tanner Tallarico, as he always does show up on the starting lineup. He is not actually racing in tonight's race. He is overseeing everything from the race control booth, making sure that everything goes sound and smoothly for these drivers here tonight, as everyone is kind of just tapping away at their throttles here down in pit road. Well, not pit road, but down here behind the pace car, waiting to get the green light to go ahead and start pacing for the very first time, and it will be a very short pace lap that we will see here before we go to green flag racing here today. Here's a good shot of the field. A little bit of a delayed start for some drivers possibly not quite paying attention to how much time they had left here, but everyone getting themselves off and started here. And Brett Hahn going to drop to the tail end of the field, going to take the shotgun rule for the number 71 machine, so he's going to be at the back end here tonight. And looks to be Brett Hahn going to be rocking a little bit of a different paint scheme here tonight. Rocking the number 83, as well as a very unique paint scheme here tonight. I gotta say, I love the colors. So Devin McDonald, Andrew Payne, they're going to be lined up side by side with one another as we come down essentially what is, well, I guess you could say it's a back straight. As we go through 3 and 4, the pace car going to make that quick dive or not. All right, we're going to take one more lap around here. That's A-okay. After a good night of racing at Southern National 2 weeks prior, Brett Hahn coming home with a win, Nick Fleury in second, and David Lucci in third. We go back to green flag racing here tonight at Oxford Plains. Devin McDonald off in the front row, 150 laps to go. It's going to be a shootout for these drivers early on in this stint to get as many positions as they possibly can. It's going to be a lot of scrapping around the field here. Let's see what happens throughout some of this field, as we're taking a look here at Nick Fleury in the number 25 machine, sitting in third place here at this moment. A little bit of a battle happening up ahead here as well for the lead. Devin McDonald trying to fend off Tyler Jordan in the number 92 machine, and they go side by side for just a moment. Tyler Jordan up ahead as we come out of turn 4, back across the checkered line, back into turn 1. Stacked up single file here for the top 4 drivers. Taking a little bit of a look further back in the field, you can see one driver opting to go double wide here, and it looks to be the 48 of Tim Rogers, who has now taken that single file approach here as well. So going to see a lot of drivers taking things relatively easy, I think, in this opening stage of the race. No one wants to get too aggressive too early on. They don't want to see themselves out of the race before it's even technically began. So a lot of good racing that we're seeing here right now from these drivers, and just trying to keep this thing green and click off those laps here. And I think what's even more surprising to me, just from a commentator's point of view, is the fact that, oh, we got someone sideways here. Zach Heiser The 14 machine with horsepower happenings going to find himself a little bent out of shape here coming out of turn 2 on the back straight. Let's see, or the back curve, straight curve, what's the difference at this point? Let's take a look at the instant replay here and see just exactly how this unfolded here for Zach, excuse me. Might have been a little bit of contact there into the rear, it seemed like. Let's back this up here just one quick moment and see just what we can... Okay, so he was already loose, and looks to be the 38 of... Ooh, excuse me. The 38 machine, David Payton, finding himself getting a little too close for comfort in that situation and not realizing that Zach was possibly going a little bit slower than usual at that point. So just a racing incident at that point, nothing really major coming from it, and ultimately no harm, no foul. Unfortunately for Zach Heiser, it's going to come at the loss of position, but he didn't put anyone else out of the race, and his car is still raceable. We're still out on track, so everything is still good for these drivers, and it's still a long race left here. Even though it's going to be tough for passing, it's not going to be easy these next 140 or so laps. But it definitely, I think, puts some drivers at ease, knowing that things aren't necessarily out of the wood. Well, that's the wrong terminology to use here, but we've got contact in the center row. Going through 1 and 2. Ron Hart going to be ultimately involved in this one in the 51 machine. Let's take a look here. Look to be drivers getting stacked up 3 wide for a moment. Yeah, just the field getting bunched up and an accordion effect happening from there. One bumper to the next, and ultimately Ron Hart going to find himself with a short stick of the deal and going to find himself restarting at the tail end of this restart. Second caution of the race, lap 11 of 150. Minor incidents so far, nothing really too major. These drivers showing that they've definitely got what it takes here to put on a good 150 laps, and so far what we've seen is just really good side-by-side racing and just attempts to try and get positions as much as they can. So here we go. We're going to get ready to go back to green flag here in just a short moment as we come through turns 3 and 4. There goes the pace car back into pit lane. Green flag goes down once again, and Tyler Jordan leading this field, going to try and build himself up some momentum and a gap between himself and second place driver Nick Fleury. Meanwhile, behind them, most of the field staying in that single file lane. No one showing any signs of moving to the outside quite yet or trying to make a dive attempt to the inside. Mostly everyone trying to keep things relatively calm and smooth. Some action happening towards the back end of the field with Zach Heiser, Ron Hart, Noah Boucher, and Eric Hahn here as well. Eric Hahn going to stay up on the outside lane here. Let the faster drivers on by here, not try and get in anybody's any way here. And already starting to see the pack start to separate between David Payton sitting in 11th from there on. So very interesting to see just how quickly these drivers can see themselves start to have a gap of over a second to work with. before they find themselves back behind someone in front of them. So these flat short track races always kind of have a bit of uncertainty with them, and it always just makes it a very interesting and a very exciting race to watch here, because you just never know what could happen at any moment. And even as we're looking up here just a little bit further ahead, we were just seeing Charles Darling there for a moment get in on some of the action, or was seeing some action around him, but now that started to dissipate here a little bit. But while we do that, let's go ahead. I want to ride on board here with Franklin Evans in the number 933 machine. That's the wrong camera I was looking for, but just to kind of get an idea of what a lap is like here at Oxford. You can see Evan just constantly cranking on that wheel, trying to get the car to rotate. You could pretty much just think of Oxford as just one giant turn. Franklin Evans doing a phenomenal job of trying to keep himself up here with Charles Darling, as well as Brett Hahn, who's slowly starting to work their way up the field, and Brett Hahn especially already up into 7th place, having had to start from the tail end of the field. So Brett Hahn looking to perform well here and get himself up onto the podium. And get that podium finish here tonight as we come across the checkered line. It's lap 24 of 150. Clicking off laps here very, very quickly. Again, lap time's just under 15 seconds. So not a whole lot of time is being spent around the track here. You can see the last time that drivers have put up on the top of your screens. Just for a moment there, we were seeing David Payton, Charles Darling, as well as David Luigi, all battling it out there for just a second, and Charles Darling gets tipped sideways by David. Going into turn 1, Charles Darling gets the contact from the 87 machine of David Luigi right to the left rear tire. There's the contact. And there goes Charles Darling sliding his way up to the top of the racetrack, bringing it to a stop. And luckily, thankfully, because of the layout here at Oxford, there's no real worry of getting yourself into a wall or anything like that. Granted, you could roll the car, which would not be ideal to start, but it does give you the benefit that you won't bin your car in a situation like that. Now, granted, you do have these giant dirt mounds holding up what appears to be the light post here at Oxford, so I can't imagine that a car going into there would exactly be like a mattress for the car, but hey, you know what? Who knows? We get ourselves ready to go back to green flag racing here. Tyler Jordan, Nick Fleury up in the front row with Andrew Payne and Riley Mauricio in the second row. Devin McDonald, Tim Rogers in our third row. Getting closer and closer to the end of the championship here with only 2 races left after tonight, and I gotta say, you are not going to want to miss it here, folks. It is going to be an exciting final 2 races. Next week, we head to 5 Flags, and after that, the grand finale at Southern Boston. It's going to be an exciting one, folks, and tonight is also going to be a phenomenal race to witness here. So get yourselves strapped in, get yourselves ready for what is going to be now just a little under 125 laps left to go here at Oxford. Pace car is in. The green flag drops here once again on the double file restart here. Drivers all scrambling for positions, trying to get themselves into that bottom lane as quickly as they possibly can. Drivers already on the inside lane, going to have a little bit of preference here and a little bit of an advantage, but potentially. Drivers stuck on the outside, going to have to find a way to squeeze themselves in. We got 2 wide, 3 deep here, forming up between Tim Rogers, David Payton, Franklin Evans, Noah Boucher. Zach Heiser's also there, trying to get all the numbers of the cars here, but good steady battles happening out on track right now. And for Tyler Jordan and Andrew Payne, they're starting to slowly see a little bit of a gap between themselves and the rest of the field here, but for how long that's going to last kind of remains to be the question at this point. But so far, everyone looking very calm, very steady here on this restart. A little bit of action forming between Brett Hahn as well as Devin McDonald in the number 18 machine up on the outside as we go through 3 and 4, out of 4 and across the checkered line. Brett Hahn once again moving himself up the field, already into 4th from the last time that we spoke about him. Brett the Jet looking to secure his 4th championship here with American Sim Racing Club. The 3-time back-to-back champion does not want to be taken down from his throne quite yet. He wants to remain, but will he be able to stay there with Andrew Payne, who has performed very well throughout this season? And he's even said himself that he didn't necessarily expect to even perform as well as he has, but he will take it either way. Zach Heiser finding himself off track here and ultimately going to bring out the yellow flag. Let's see potentially just how this unfolded here as we get a look at the instant replay. A little bit of contact from the rear end, it looks like, from Franklin Evans in the 933 machine. That little bit of an extra push that to push that Zach 14 of Zach Heiser into the dirt. Bringing out the yellow flag here for the fourth time for race number 10, lap 36 of 150. And now I kind of expected this to happen here, folks, with the amount of cautions that we're seeing early on. It's a tough track, and it's a flat track at that. So drivers don't really have any straightaways to work with. Speed is not going to be your friend, at least in a major sense, if you will. But what is going to help you is consistency. And so far, Tyler Jordan and Andrew Payne have shown a lot of that up here in the front. But got to give credit here to Nick Fleury, Brett Hahn, who have both been up here in the top 5. Riley Mauricio, who's also been up here in the top 5, finding themselves a little bit further behind on this restart. But after qualifying what I believe was 8th place, I believe that's right. So Riley Mauricio going from 8th up to 5th here in this race so far. So having a good night in the number 32 machine, and for Tyler Jordan, it's a good night in the 92 machine, having led a good chunk of laps here. Still a long race left to go. There's not exactly a clear shot to the end here. There's still a lot of battles left to be had and still a lot of laps left to be turned as the pace car makes its way back down into pit road. The green flag drops here once again. We go back to green flag racing here once more. Taking a look here throughout the field, seeing where drivers are going to put themselves at on this single file restart. Going to see if we can get some more green flag runs for these drivers. And while it might not play in the favor for drivers looking for an opportunity to get themselves up a position or two, taking advantage of those double file restarts, the single file starts here on these particular kinds of tracks typically tend to work a little bit better. Side-by-side action here with Tim Rogers and Franklin Evans both duking it out, coming out of turn 4, back into turn 1. Tim Rogers going to come out on top of that one, up into 10th place here, cracking his way up into the top 10. Meanwhile, just behind them, Franklin Evans, David Luigi, they're going to continue to duke it out here for just a moment as they break up just a little bit. Tyler Jordan, Andrew Payne, Nick Fleury, Brett Hahn, Riley Mauricio, the top 5 still at this moment. Lap 44 of 150. Laps being clicked off very quickly here still. And it definitely makes you wonder as a driver just how much time you really have before you see the end of the race. And I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for all drivers, but I know that when I'm behind the wheel here, as we're looking at the action between Franklin Evans as well as David Luigi, they're both getting a little squirrely here out on the racetrack. But what I was alluding to was that it can feel like an eternity sometimes before the end of the race. You know, you just turn a lap and then you're just sitting there wondering, oh man, it's got to be at least 10 left. And then 10 laps later, your crew chief finally tells you, hey, 10 laps left to go, and you're like, oh, wow, okay. Anyway, Eric Hahn, a little bit of trouble here out on the back curve out of turn 2, finding himself coming to a complete stop here. Oh, boy. Big time off track here for the 711 machine, trying to get himself back out onto the track. With those slick radials out on the dirt, I can't imagine that is the easiest drive ever, but Eric Hahn making it happen and making sure that he gets himself back onto the racetrack and ready for this next restart here. So with Tyler Jordan and Andrew Payne both up in the front row here once again on this restart, we get ready to go back to green flag racing here once again as the green flag drops here once more. And 3 wide in trouble out on turn 1 right out of the gate. Devin McDonald ultimately finding himself getting the worst end of it here, it seems like. Let's take a look here at the instant replay. Ooh. So it looks like Devin McDonald and Franklin Evans both finding themselves off track and getting a little bit of the contact there. So that's going to bring out another caution here once again, in a very rough start for the drivers this time around. I got to say, I mean, it's definitely a bold move to take things 3 wide here. I'm not sure that I would ever want to try it, but hey, I mean, to each their own. Back to green flag racing we go. A single file here once again on this restart. Gonna see how this affects the green flag run here, and hopefully be able to get a decent run for these drivers here. 50 laps in 6 cautions. Definitely a little bit of a shaky start for these drivers. And as I say that, Franklin Evans, Devin McDonald, both going to find themselves a little bit of a pickle here, bringing out the caution here once more, as I speak a little bit too soon about keeping things green for a little while. Let's take a look and see how this one kind of unfolds. McDonald going to be right behind Evans here as we come out of 4 down the front straight. Contact to the rear end of the 14 machine sends him spinning around. Or not the 14 machine, excuse me, the 933, a.k.a. the 41 machine of Franklin Evans. Yeah, and as Perkins Motorsports puts it, as the old saying goes, cautions breed cautions. And I think that's definitely the case here tonight, that a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of mixed excitement for these drivers here tonight. A lot of anticipation here to see where the likes of Andrew Payne, Brett Hahn, Nick Fleury, the current top 3 contenders in the championship, are going to find themselves at the end of tonight's race. And currently Andrew Payne looking the strongest out of those 3, but Nick Fleury just ahead of Brett Hahn here as well. So as we go back to green flag racing, drivers continue to scrap for position and fight and claw their way up to where they want to be here. In a contact through 3 and 4, but it appears to be that it's going to get sorted out here very quickly. And we continue on with our green flag racing here at Oxford Plains Speedway for the Race1 SK Modified Series with American Sim Racing Club. Out of turn 2 on the back curve into 3 and 4. Andrew Payne right on the tail of Tyler Jordan here, trying to give him the beans here. The 93 machine trying to see what all he can do right behind the tail of Tyler Jordan. as we're looking along here, we're watching with Tim Rogers, the 14 machine, one of the drivers who saw themselves in a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier in the race at the beginning, still finding himself out here on track in the top 10, currently sitting at 9th at this point in time. Just a little bit of a wobble there, keeping himself together and ultimately avoiding making that any worse there. Action happening here for 7th place here with Noah Boucher and Tim Rogers both duking it out here side by side. A little bit of a twitch there from the 16 of Noah. Keeping themselves together as they go through 3 and 4. All of these drivers battling what seems to be hot tires and a hot track here. Charles Darling getting a little loose out of 4. Keeps it together. Contact made with the 18 of Devin McDonald. John DeMeester seems to have caught a little bit of that here as well. As the caution comes back out here and get the field restacked here. Let's go ahead and take a look here once more at that instant replay and see exactly how that unfolded here. Oh, man. So John DeMeester, okay, so he just fully locked up his tires trying to avoid that one. And Charles there, I think, just possibly didn't realize how close he was to Franklin in that situation, but pace car is back in, and the green flag drops once more here at Oxford Plains. Drivers lined up here once again, single file, as we've seen on a lot of these restarts, trying to give the drivers the best possible start and best possible chance at a long green flag run here. Oh, no. Tim Rogers getting into the back end of Franklin Evans, and Franklin not having a great night here, and not by any fault of his own. He is just a magnet for incidents here tonight, it seems like, in finding himself getting involved in more than one here already. Let's see how this one unfolded here for Franklin. There you see Devin McDonald right on the tail, and there goes the rear end of Franklin into the dirt and having to get himself back out onto track. Pace car is back in, and we go back to green flag racing here once more. Lap 67 of 150. Here for race number 10 of the Race 1 SK Modified Series. Tyler Jordan up in the front, proving his dominance here tonight and showing that he is a tough driver to get around here at Oxford, and that's seeing some action here between Charles Darling as well as Noah Boucher in the 16. Even Franklin Evans up there in the mix of things, trying to get some of the action here as well. We're only a few laps away before the halfway mark. Lap 73 of 150, drivers getting themselves back into that single file groove. And seeing where they're going to end up at here in the next few laps, or really over the next course of the next half of the race here, now that as we come across the checkered line here once again, we will be officially halfway through tonight's race. Little bit of a wobble here from Rogers. Possible contact made with, I believe that might have been Zach Heiser there for a moment. Keeping himself on track here. Nothing else coming from it. Dropping down a few positions. He's going to get himself back in line here. And try an attack here once again. See what he can do to recover some of that loss here. So while that goes on, let's go ahead. I want to ride on board here for just a moment with Brett the Jet Hahn and get a few laps on board here and get a listen to the sights and sounds here at Oxford Plains. Fantastic driving here from Brett the Jet Hahn, lap 85 of 150. John DeMeester here having a little bit of trouble in the number 2 Miller Lite machine as he attempts to get himself back on the track here. And oh boy. John DeMeester not having a real good day here at Oxford as he tries to get that car back out on track here. Noah Boucher finding himself in a little bit of trouble here in the number 16 machine, bringing out the yellow flag. Zach Heiser involved in as well. Let's see exactly how this one played out. Zach Heiser getting himself spun while getting spun around there with a little bit of contact, and I didn't see where Noah Boucher got involved in that one, or if it was a separate incident of itself. Let's see if we can take a look here real quickly before we go back to green and see potentially what happened here with Noah Boucher. Ooh, a big bump hitting a big bump there through the corner, and that unsettles the car and brings him through the infield. Noah having to recover that one and get things back in order here. Pace car is in and back to green flag racing we go. Lap 89 of 150. Next time by, 60 laps left to go as Tyler Jordan fends off Brett Hahn, the 71 machine, trying to get himself a victory here to push his way up into the championship spot. Here with only 2 races left to go, it is crucial here for not only Brett Hahn, and got to include Nick Fleury and Andrew Payne to get as high of a finish as possible here to fend for that championship. And right now, Brett Hahn looking very dominant here, showing that he has what it takes to be able to get out ahead, potentially, of Tyler Jordan, putting that pressure on the 92 machine, trying to get him to make a mistake here. Let's see if he can push his way up into the front. Andrew Payne back here in 5th place, trying to get himself around David Payton after falling back a few positions from that 2nd place spot. Lap 97 of 150. It is, again, going to be a tough fight to the end. Some drivers going to be on fresh set of tires, other drivers not going to be on fresh sets here. Tyler Jordan, Brett Hahn, Nick Fleury, all 3 of these drivers all going to be on older sets here. Andrew Payne, David Payton, both on newer sets. Now, while that may not matter too much here, given that drivers aren't utilizing a whole lot of straightaway speed, given there is no real straights here, it's all going to come down to just who can save tires the most, given that you are just taking one giant turn the whole race. Watching along here with Andrew Payne, David Payton as they go side by side. Andrew trying to work his way up further in the top 5. Charles Darling looking to do the same as he takes that inside lane through 3 and 4, and there he goes up into 5th place now. David Payton falling into 6th. Lap 105 of 150, 45 laps left to go here at Oxford Plains, and Tyler Jordan doing a phenomenal job of keeping his competitor Brett Hahn in his rear views and not letting him get in his mirrors too much here. Oh no, contact made. Nick Fleury getting pushed sideways here, I believe that was by Tim Rogers, potentially. No, that was Andrew Payne. Wow. So there it is, a little bit of a bump to the rear by the 93 driver, and that sends Nick Fleury spinning around in an unfortunate event here for Nick Fleury, as he's had a pretty decent race here tonight. Now having to find himself restarting towards the tail end of the field here. Back to green flag racing we go. Lap 109 of 150. Here for race number 10 of the Race 1 SK Modified Series, and Tyler Jordan continuing with his dominant lead here. Still trying to hold off Brett Hahn as he continues to fight his way up to the front, trying to get ahead of the 92 driver here with only 40 laps left to go. Action happening mostly in the middle of the field at this moment, single file through what's remaining of the field. A few drivers having fallen out of the race after the various incidents tonight, and ultimately playing in favor to some drivers here, particularly maybe even Brett Hahn, and in the way that he's been able to work his way up here into second place, and now trying to fight his way into the front with almost 30 laps left to go. Brett Hahn showing all that he can here to keep himself on the rear of Tyler Jordan. Again, alluding to what I was saying earlier about consistency, Tyler is showing a lot of that here tonight. not varying from his line hardly at all, and not really showing a whole lot of movement from that rear end either. Again, very smooth, very clean here for the 92 driver. Come back across the line. It's lap 120 of 150. A little side-by-side action happening at the back end of the pack. Oh no! Oh no! Our leader Tyler Jordan finding himself in a little bit of trouble here. The 92 machine finally. Oh. I think that was just a cascade of events that unfortunately caught up to Tyler Jordan and ultimately led to him getting that spin. And wow, that is going to be a crushing way to be brought down to the tail end of the field and to be brought out of your lead. Fortunately for Brett Hahn and Charles Darling and Zach Heiser, it's going to mean an opportunity and a shot for those top 3 spots, and Brett Hahn ultimately another win here potentially. Back to green flag racing with only 29 laps left to go, and Brett Hahn now in clean air. He finds himself getting away from the field. Charles Darling almost in trouble there. There's a little bit of calamity through the field as drivers blipping out, in and out. Things getting settled out here very quickly. Wow, that could have ended in disaster for drivers. Keeping everything together here, though. Brett Hahn, meanwhile, just getting away from this field and just driving it away for tonight's potential win here for the 71 machine, as drivers continue to scrap for positions behind them. Charles Darling right now trying to get up to the tail of David Luigi in the 87 machine, with Andrew Payne tucked up right behind him as well, trying to get it back up into the top 3 here with only 25 laps left to go as we come back across the checkered line here at Oxford Plains. Oh boy, oh no, I think Charles Darling might have made that little bit of contact there unintentionally, and unfortunately the 88 machine now going to be out of the race due to hitting the incident limit cap here. Zach Heiser gets the little bit of a tail there. He's on his roof and flips back over. Little bit of action here for the last few laps that we have here, and let's see the instant replay here. Back things up here just a little bit, as that isn't exactly what we were looking for here. Might have been a little bit of contact here from the 87. David Luigi making contact with that rear end, sending Zach Heiser for a ride here at Oxford. Bringing that car to a stop just on the outside of turn 1, right on the dirt. So driver's going to get racked and stacked here once more. So a good night here for Brett Hahn. It's going to potentially push himself up into the lead for the championship and potentially bring him just a little bit closer to being a 4-time champion here with American Sim Racing Club. So taking a double file restart this time around, given the number of number of drivers out on the field right now, it makes sense to allow drivers to have a good opportunity for battles here with the 18 laps that we have left to go here. David Luigi, Brett Hahn going to be starting up in the front row. Andrew Payne, Nick Fleury side by side in the second row here as we go back to green flag. Battles for second and the lead here between Andrew Payne, David Luigi, all trying to get up here into the mix of things. Andrew Payne trying to defend his championship here with 16 laps left to go. He's got an opportunity to do so. Will he be able to surpass the 71 of Brett the Jet Hahn, or will he be able to keep himself up here in the top 3 in the second place spot? Be able to hopefully keep himself in the lead for the championship. Tyler Jordan, though, with the switcheroo through 1 and 2. Gets himself up into that second place spot ahead of Andrew Payne. Andrew now going to be in trouble here, trying to keep himself going down any further. I don't think he'll be in trouble of going down further at this point. right now. But, oh, look at this. Tyler Jordan peeking on the inside of Brett the Jet, trying to see if he can make a move here with 14 laps left to go. Across the checkered line, back into turns 1 and 2. Drivers scrapping for positions just behind them here as well. Staying single file right now, but for how long is the question? And Andrew Payne, I mean, for him, he really wants to be able to see an opportunity open up for him and push his way up further than where he's at right now. I mean, anything ahead of Brett Hahn is going to be a victory in the eyes of Andrew Payne. But with a third place finish, I'm not 100% certain if it will be enough to keep Andrew Payne in the lead once things are all said and done. And as we come across the checkered line, it's 9 laps left to go here at Oxford Plains Speedway. Tyler Jordan continuing to peek on the inside of Brett Hahn, trying to see if he can make a move happen here, but I'm not certain that he will be able to. Brett Hahn keeping himself extremely consistent here in the final few laps. As we go through 3 and 4 and back across the checkered line, it'll be 6 laps left to go, bundled up here through out of turn 4. Almost looking like potential contact there between Nick Fleury and David Luigi potentially, but they keep it clean. Tyler Jordan right hot on the heels of Brett Hahn, trying to get himself up into the front here as much as he possibly can, trying everything that he has in his power. Andrew Payne, though, seeing a little bit of wobble from the rear end. There goes Brett Hahn, and Tyler Jordan, the field gets bundled up. Oh, man, and Andrew Payne gets out ahead of all of it. This is... oh, wow. For Andrew Payne, I think this is exactly what he was hoping to see. Let's take a look at the instant replay and see how this one unfolded. Oh, man. Everyone getting a little piece of that here as well, but ultimately Andrew able to avoid it the most and keep himself out ahead of the field. And with only 2 laps left to go, this will enter into our GWCs here tonight. So once we come back to green, it will, I think, technically be 3 laps left to go. So here we go, back to green flag here for potentially the last and final time. What I would assume would be the last and final time with 2 laps left to go. Once we come across the checkered line, the white flag will be out. And Andrew Payne, it's going to be a big night of success, and by a huge stroke of luck here. Final turns, no, David Luigi right on the tail of Andrew Payne as we come out of 4. There's contact being made. Noah Boucher comes across the line for the win here. Nick Fleury in second and Tyler Jordan in third. I don't even have words to describe what just happened, folks. That was a wow. What a way to finish the race here tonight. As Noah Boucher's gonna burn it down on the field here. And we're going to go ahead and get ourselves ready for our post-race interviews. All right, up first we are going to have Tyler Jordan in the number 92 machine joining us here first. Tyler, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your third place finish here tonight. What a race that we saw here at Oxford. It was definitely an extremely tough race. Flat track races always have some unique times happen at them. And given that this is kind of all one giant turn, that just makes things ever more interesting. Tyler, you had a phenomenal run here tonight as well, leading quite a few laps and ultimately finding yourself a little bit further back in the field than you would like to be, and ultimately coming back and finding yourself on the podium in third. Not the finish that you probably would have wanted, but a strong comeback to say the least. Tyler, what was your game plan tonight, and did things come out the way that you would hope to?
I think I actually ended up like 4th or 5th. I think there was a glitch in the server or something like that they were just talking about.
Ah, okay. Well, my timing and scoring is also confused, so I'm also thoroughly confused. So that's all right. Well, Tyler, congratulations on your 3rd, 4th place finish. I'm not really too sure, but while you're up here, Tyler, is anyone you want to shout out? Anyone you want to thank watching at home or in the pit crew that helped you in tonight's race?
Yeah, I just gotta thank you up in the booth, American Sim for putting all this on, and everybody watching the stream.
All right, well, thank you for joining me up here, Tyler, and I look forward to seeing you next week, and hopefully get to talk to you again next week. Alrighty, folks, that was Tyler Jordan out of the booth here. The 92 machine bringing home 3rd, 4th place, I'm not really too sure. Up next, we have Nick Fleury. Nick potentially taking home 2nd place here tonight. I'm not really too certain, as our timing and scoring shows Noah Boucher, Nick Fleury, and Tyler Jordan bringing home 1, 2, and 3. But Nick, welcome to the booth. You're up next. Welcome and congratulations on your, I believe, podium finish here tonight. It was an incredible race here, and I think a little bit of confusion at the end with, I think, some drivers finding themselves out of the race due to incident limits.
Yeah, iRacing's got a real touchy modified here. Everyone gets incident points for the tiniest contact with Nerf bars. They kind of treat it like it's a chassis and it's a big gigantic hit. And so it's certainly a precarious situation. I don't know how you can possibly handle it.
Well, Nick, I mean, out of all the field here tonight, you handled it very well among a lot of other drivers here. And ultimately, I mean, coming home with 2nd place here tonight, it definitely seemed like it was going to be a very different outcome in those final few laps. But being able to come across the line on the podium, I mean, it had to have been unexpected, but obviously welcomed, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I only had one goal all night. That was stay clean, keep the car straight, and stay out of trouble and try to be there at the end. I did get taken out that one time, so it wasn't going to plan completely, but I just kept doing the same thing after I got sent to the back, and there I was at the end, towards the front of the race.
Well, bringing it home for second place and looking forward into the next two races. Nick, you did a phenomenal job here tonight. Hopefully get to see more success out of that 25 machine before the season's over. But before we let you go and celebrate, is anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
Yeah, I gotta thank, first of all, my Lord and Savior. I gotta thank my wife. She's very good to me and lets me get away with a lot here racing during the week.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me up here, Nick, and I look forward to talking to you more, hopefully before the season ends here. All right, so Nick Fleury going to be out of the booth here tonight, and last and certainly not going to be least, Noah Boucher bringing home the win here tonight at Oxford Plains. Noah, a bit of an unexpected win here, but welcomed nonetheless. The 16 machine bringing it home for the win here. I mean, what was your game plan coming into tonight? It was a brutal race and a brutal track. I mean, just walk me through what was your ultimate goal here tonight?
I don't know if I won it. I heard some talks, but I'm not 100% sure. But if we won it, awesome. What I expected was to try to keep it clean. Obviously, that didn't happen. Got caught up in quite a few stuff. Just slightest tap gave the biggest hit, so it kind of sucked. Got close to ending up with our incident points there, and was able to keep it alive a little bit. Had a little bit of a let go there towards the end, but got it back at the lucky dog and wrecked it, getting the lucky dog back, which is kind of funny. If I can't wreck it under green, apparently I can wreck it under yellow. So got the lap back. Was just trying to run where we were, and my teammate David and Andrew battled it out and obviously got DQ'd. I don't know what the verdict is there on the finish between Andrew and David and the top 5 there, so we'll see about that. I don't know. This is about a 4-hour trip from home, so kind of like a home track to me.
Well, you did phenomenal here tonight alongside a lot of other drivers here with this tough track. So looking forward into the next couple races that we have. I believe, what was it? It was 5 Flags and then Southern Boston Speedway. What's kind of your expectations there, and are you looking to perform similar or better or worse there?
5 Flags, I expect a pretty good run. One of my favorite tracks on the service, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. South Boston, we'll see. It could be a tricky track at times, especially running side by side with somebody. And with the way the incidents happen in these cars, it could be a brutal race, or it can run pretty clean.
Absolutely. Love to hear it. Well, Noah, whether or not you came home with the win tonight, I'm going to count it as a win for yourself here, at least for tonight, as, well, at least from what I saw, you were the only one that came across the line for the win. So congratulations, Noah, and even if anyone tells you differently, you're still my winner tonight.
Thank you, Mason. I've been enjoying the broadcast, and I hope it counts as a win. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations either way, Noah, and I look forward to seeing you in the final couple races here in this season.
Me too, and I look forward to hopefully getting back up in the booth with you, Mason.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
You too.
Alrighty, folks. Noah Boucher taking home potentially the win here tonight. A little bit of discussion happening in race control booth, determining who is actually out of the race and so on and so forth. We'll have an official race results next week at 5 Flag Speedway. But that is going to conclude our coverage here of race number 10 of the Race1 SK Modified Series here with American Sim Racing Club. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad 7 nights a week. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all same time, same place next week. Thank you all for tuning in. See you all next time.